Shout out to everybody tapping in, man. This is episode 38 of Manifest Mondays. Today we're talking about scarce versus abundant mindsets. What's the difference? How do they apply to your life? How do you feel about that? And with that being said, man, kicking it off, how would y'all define a scarce and an abundant mindset?
I would go, man. I would say an abundance mindset is like you just have plentiful, right? You believe whatever your situation is, you always can do more or you can add more into your life. However, on the other hand, a scarcity mindset is like when you are fearful, you believe that you have a limited resource. So whatever situation you're going through, you're afraid to like pivot or change because you believe that you don't have enough, right? And I think by having a scarcity mindset, sometimes it makes us not wanting to like it make us to like sometimes stay in situation and do things that we really don't want to do because we are afraid that we don't have enough options, man. So I think it'd be overall detrimental to your overall well-being, financial well-being, relationship. We see that so many times people be on a healthy relationship and stay there a lot longer because they believe that they can attract anything better than what they're currently doing. You see that with jobs, right? You might be at a job, your boss are treating you like shit, right? But you stay there because you believe you don't have that confidence. You don't have an abundance mindset that there's plentiful jobs out there. There's a lot of opportunities out there that if you elevate yourself, you can attract those things. And that would be my definition of those two, bro, for sure.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you hit it damn near right on the nose, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not too much I could add outside of that, but like, um, with a scarcity mindset, I just feel like it's a mindset that feels like you're not going to get any more than you already have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like something is just it's like a block on you. It's like a little, you know what I'm saying? It's like a cage almost. It's like a cage, and it's like you can't really get anything more than and you don't really believe that you're gonna get more. You don't understand how you're gonna get more. You're not interested in finding out. You just like anything that you know what I'm saying. So I really look at it like a cage, right? Like
Right.
it's a cage sitting over there. And if somebody like rolls a little like a little grape by you, and you just grab it and try to bring it back in there, like this is mine, like this little cage is mine, like this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is my whole world is in this little box right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe I can get out. I'm not looking for a way. But anything that comes over here, if if it's in reach, I'm gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I'm gonna just live in this box. You know what I mean? Um,
But
as opposed to like abundance, it's like I heard this dope thing that said like with an abundance mindset, you don't look at like money just coming like to you. You look at it coming through you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's
but
like, you know what I'm saying? Like it comes to you and it goes through you to other people and other businesses and other places that you're putting it to, but it like you're just, you know what I mean? Like it's like it's not like a stoppage, it's just like kind of like a flow.
right.
It's
Yeah.
just like a flow of things, you know what I'm saying? And when I think of like abundance of everything, that's what I feel like it is. It's kind of like in
Mhm.
flow.
Right.
It's always in motion. Something's happening, you know what I'm saying? So when I look at that, I look like anything with abundance, whether that's love, you know what I'm saying, success, money, friendships. It's just like it's in a natural flow, in a natural growth, and it's like always going somewhere. It's always continuing to, you know what I mean? Like they say, if you threw something in the river, you would never really find it again. It just is, it's in flow, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it, man. On a small level, man.
Mhm.
Scarcity versus abundance.
Yeah. Y'all both stole everything I was gonna say. So pretty much bar for bar what I was gonna say. So shout out to y'all, but
To every bar.
bar, but furthermore, in regards to what you were saying, Pete, just as far as the flow of everything, right? I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe in the flow of everything. Energy, currency, mindset, just everything. Everything is always naturally like flowing at all times in the universe, and so when you're thinking, when you're operating on that wavelength, from an abundant mindset, to your point, everything comes full circle, right? Like there's that there like everything, what you put out is what you'll receive, like, and at the end of the day, you just know that it's always going to work out. Like I think that's also like a big piece of having an abundant mindset is just like not just assuming that it's just going to work out just because like, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna just like leave it in God's hands, but it's because you're also doing the work too.
Right.
Like you're doing all you need to be doing, checking off all the boxes, but you're also maintaining your faith throughout all of that, you know, like in yourself, in the people around you, you know, and if you believe, you know, like in a higher being, you know, like just that constant flow of belief and of value, of just always pouring that into the world, pouring that into the people around you, you're going to receive that as well. So everything comes full circle, you know, like, and so, you know, it's almost that boomerang effect, right? Like, I don't mind, you know, I don't mind sharing, I don't mind like giving, because I know that at the end of the day, it's going to come back to me at some point, you know. Not that that's the expectation, right? You know, I'm not giving with the intent of like trying to like hold that over someone's head, but I'm just giving naturally in the flow of things. Like, you know, like there's no, like, if you're in a river, right? Why would you want to fight the current and life just things, and just know that naturally, like, you will end up where you need to be, you know, kind of thing. So
Right.
that's what I think of when I think from an abundant mindset. Um, and then when I think of a scarce mindset, I definitely think of just like survival. That's, to me,
Right.
like, scarce equates to survival. Like, you're just out here trying to survive, and we all are, you know, every day. Like, but it's the polar, like, it's the polarized version of that, right? You know, like, you're just like, you're constantly just like in survival mode, and just like always high
Right.
stress, and just like, it's not where people want to be, like, especially if you know what the other side of things looks like, right? You know, like, some people, that's all they know, so it's just like, man, that's all I know is a scarce mindset. But
Right.
if you know what the other side looks like, it's just, you know, that's why they say, you know, when people, you know, from poverty gain wealth, the last thing they want to do is ever go back to being poor again, you know, kind of thing. It's
Right.
just like, you know, I never want to go be back in that mindset, and you know, taking steps back, you know, like, no one wants to be there. So, you know, just as far as what y'all were saying, I echo all those sentiments, and yeah, man, at the end of the day, we're trying to figure it out day by day. But like, how do y'all think y'all make that switch from like going from a scarce mindset to an abundant mindset? Like how do y'all think that transition happens?
Were you just reading my mind, Z? That was pretty much what I was gonna ask. You got a mind read over here. Man, I would say it comes with confidence, right? I think you have to have something going on for yourself in order for you to like cultivate that mindset, right? If you're somebody like everything is going down the drain, like life is not that great, it's hard to create that. I would say about trying something, right? Whenever you try something and you start to
Mhm.
see progress and you start to believe that confidence, because I think it comes with you having self confidence within yourself, having that belief that whatever I put my mind to, I can accomplish that. And also, maybe you might not be able to accomplish that right away, but you believe that if you learn the skill sets and have all the tools, whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, you are able to create that in life by building yourself up, right? And I think once you put in the work, the effort to build yourself up slowly, that's when you start to like slowly gravitate towards more of an abundance mindset, because now you're trying things is working out, right? You had that girlfriend before that broke up with you, right? You went to the gym, you elevate yourself, you elevate your consciousness, all those other things, and now you're able to attract someone who's even better, right? And then by seeing those little results over time, that's what I think is easier for you to like cultivate and create that abundance mindset
Yeah.
from scarcity to abundance.
Yeah, bro. On the money, man. Um, I think the truth of it is a lot of people don't have an abundance mindset because they don't feel like they deserve it.
Right,
Right. So kind of going back to what you were saying, like putting in the work, not only do you get better at it and get more confidence, but sometimes you feel you it would help you start feeling like you deserve it
Mhm.
more.
right,
Right. Like if you really don't feel like you deserve it, it's gonna be hard for you to ever get something that you feel like you don't deserve, right?
right,
You know what I mean? So I think it starts there is like, you know, figuring out why you don't think you deserve something. And a lot of times that goes from, it starts with self as far as like how you even talk to yourself. Like,
Mhm.
right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think you deserve, or what do you think you worth, or what do you think that, you know what I mean? For a long time, I was definitely like caging myself in certain areas. Like I was always good in certain areas and then caging myself in certain areas. But just the sense of like, we put these caps on ourselves. Like, it's like we talk to ourselves and like, this is we might want something but don't believe we can actually get it because we just are telling ourselves like, man, you that that's for them. They got it. You know what I'm saying? Or they're great. They're meant for greatness. That's not, I can
Right.
never do that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I heard a really dope thing talking about kind of in this concept, and it was talking about start instead of like ending a sentence with a period in life, put a comma there. So
Yeah.
it's not like, like a period would be like, I can't do it, right? Period. But a comma would be like, I can't do it, but I'm working to get better at it until I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's really like changing like the flow of even how you talk to yourself, how the people around you talk to you. And that's sometimes you got to switch some people out. You know what I'm saying? If they talk to you in a way that that you, and you know what I mean? And some people try to put you in a, they talk to you like, oh, you
Mhm.
ain't never gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely starts with feeling like you believe in it and like you actually deserve it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think to switch from that, like, you know, um, it takes that work to really just kind of get past the level of like feeling like you don't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. I think it all starts with faith, right? I think it starts with the faith in yourself, right? Like that you're embracing and accepting what you're capable of, and just trusting that whatever it is that you do, every decision that you make is going to like lead you and like down the path of where you need to be, and trusting in that. That's the thing about having an abundant mindset is like I think it's easier to have a scarce mindset because there's a lot of certainty there. Like there's I don't know if I can make this happen because I don't believe it. Like I haven't seen it yet,
I haven't done
right?
Right.
it
But like
yet.
I don't know if I can make a million a year. Like I know that I currently make 75K a year, so I know that like this is possible. So
Right.
like I'm comfortable, like, and so like you start thinking like from a scarce mindset, because it's just like it's only like what you already have accomplished. You're thinking about the past and the present, but you're not considering the future and what could be, kind of thing. It's just like, all right, well, to your point, like y'all talked about, like it all just kind of like ends here, and it's just like putting that period on it, and it's just like, nah, like at the end of the day, you know, um, I think of the saying like I didn't come this far just to come this far,
Right.
kind of
Right.
thing. And when you're thinking about it from like an abundant mindset, like that's what you're embracing. Is just like there's a lot of uncertainty with an abundant mindset. There's like there's certainty in the uncertainty, if that makes sense. It's just like
Right.
I'm certain that it'll work out. I don't know how, but it's
Right.
going to work. Like at the
Right.
end of the day, to your point, DG, you were talking about earlier, it's just trying shit. Like I'm gonna
Right.
figure it out. You learn on the journey that you're going to end up getting to where you're going. It just
Right.
might not be the route that you thought you were going to take. It's not going to be
Facts.
that linear. You may have to pivot a few times in order to get there, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's like I know I'm going to get what's coming to me at the end of the day, and I believe that. And even furthermore, I know this is something that we've talked about and touched on in the past. When you embrace life from an abundant mindset, the universe and God, whatever it is that you believe in, like I think naturally rewards you, because like when you choose that path to truly walk in your own light and embrace that, like embrace that faith within yourself,
Right.
I think that's the closest that we get to God, or the closest that we get to our most natural selves. And so like I think the God in the universe and all these things reward that, because they want more of that. They want
Right.
people to be their full selves, and to embrace everything that you want in life. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, but that's why I think when you naturally make that decision to embrace life from an abundant mindset, that's the reason why it's just going to work out. It's just like, man, I know God got me, I got me,
Right.
my brothers got me.
Right.
End of the day, like I'm out, like kind of thing. And so um I think
Yeah.
it starts with that faith, and just like it almost like seems like an insane amount of faith
Right.
at first, right?
Right.
Like you're believing something that like isn't possible, like
Right.
to most people, because it hasn't been done yet.
Right.
Like emphasis yet, though, kind of thing. And so like you mentioned, Pete, just putting that comma at the end. And so I think it starts with belief, but I think also transitioning over to an abundant mindset also starts with examples, right? You know, like I
Right.
think you have to have an example of what that life looks like.
Right.
If you don't have it directly in your life, maybe you're a person who watches TV and it's just like, man, I see, you know, this person on TV like living a particular life, and like, you know, they do things that like I'm really interested in and stuff like that. And it's just like you need an example of what that looks
Right.
like in order to like emulate that,
Fact.
to want to be that, right? You know,
Right.
so whether it be like a superstar athlete, whether it be like a neurosurgeon who, you know, performed this remarkable surgery and just like, you know, changed this family's life forever, or, you know, maybe it was just like some historic librarian who just like dropped
Right.
hella gems through life and just like, you know, shared so much knowledge with whatever it is. It's the example of that, and when you are receptive to that and start trying different things and figuring it out for yourself, it's like, all right, I could do it too, you know, kind of
Right.
thing. And I think that's where that transition happens.
And also to add on to that, I would say your circle is important, right? Because I believe if you're hanging out with people who are speaking life into you, people who are positive, people who are not negative, right? In the day, if you're hanging out with people who believe in themselves, who are saying and doing things that you want to accomplish, it's a lot easier for you to like build that confidence. On the contrary, right? You're hanging out with people who are like naysayers, self-doubters, who don't really believe in themselves, right? It makes it a lot harder because I know they're like, bro, we're dumb, man. We can't figure it out. We can't do anything. But if you're with friends and people, you're in a circle like, oh, we're gonna figure it out. We don't know how to figure it out yet, but we're gonna make this happen. It's easier for you to like transition, right? From remove yourself from that scarcity mindset now because you see your boy like, man, I'm gonna go out there and do it, right? Like you, I'm gonna go to New York. Like, I've never been out there before. I'm gonna move out there and figure it out. Seeing that
Mm-hmm.
for someone who was in the scarcity mindset, like, oh damn, I was scared to make that transition. But
Yep,
seeing my boy do that, now you have that
exactly.
confidence because you got someone that you can compare it to and look at and be inspired by. So I would say your circle is important, man. Having people around you who want to get themselves feel like easy mentally, man. You feel it's the wrong crowd. Sometimes self-destruct by having the wrong people around them. You see that a lot of times in like, a lot of places. So I think it's paramount to have the right people around you in order for you to like make that transition mentally.
Agreed. And another thing you need to have is high speed internet. DG, you
I
got
knew you was gonna say that. Yeah, it's time. It's time for the upgrade. you got, you can't have abundance without high speed Wi-Fi.
gotta
Hey,
have some fiber
I thought mine was
optic.
high speed. I don't
At
know
least
what's
gotta
going
have
on.
fiber optic to have an abundant mindset. That boy got that scarce.
I
What
got
you
that
over there?
scarcity Wi-Fi over here. Can you
That boy got that scarce.
can you guys hear me
That's
now though?
hilarious.
Can you guys
Yeah, it's
hear
better
me?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
better
it's better
now.
now.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you.
My internet, my mindset is abundance, but my internet is scarcity right now. So we're trying to like we're going to transition to go more of an abundant side. So we get in there.
Yeah, you need to make that transition expeditiously, because. But um, to your point, DG, of what you were saying too, I think you mentioned this earlier too, is trying things. A lot of it comes, I think, from experience, right? You know, and just like uh, I know this is something that P and I were talking about, and P can elaborate on this further. But like when you do things that you think like not necessarily that you weren't capable of, but that you thought were out of reach, right? You know, like for instance, like buying a home or something like that. Like it seems like such like a far fetched idea when you've never done it before. But
Right,
then when you do it, it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. You know,
right.
like or when you travel for the first time internationally, what do you typically hear from people like, oh, traveling is super expensive and stuff like that, and then like you actually try it for yourself and it's just like, oh, that would, like, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, like it might have been like a little bit more than a flight to Florida, but like, you know, like once I got to Europe, you know, it was hella cheap to travel in Europe though, like, you know,
Right,
kind of thing. So it's just everything just sounds difficult, and it sounds like it's just unattainable when it hasn't been done yet, especially either by yourself or someone you know. But like when you actually try something and just do it, um, it's easier to embrace that abundant mindset of just like, oh, like I am capable of this. And Pete can attest to this too. You know, he flew first class. You know, out here living like a boss. You know, like just like and that experience, like when you experience stuff like that, and like the finer things in life, right? You know, it's like, why would I want to go back? Because it's just like you, as you elevate your knowledge in life, I think you elevate your expectations too, right? You know, like when you elevate, you know, your wealth and all this stuff, and think from that mindset, it's just like, yeah, I could still be thinking from a scarce mindset of like, I could be a multi-millionaire and still be flying coach, but it's like, why would I want to do that
Right.
if like I'm just gonna continue to put in the work and the effort and a certain amount of money to make sure that like I can do the things that I want to do, and that means flying first class, at bare minimum flying business class, you
Right.
know, kind of thing. Like, um, I've experienced those things, and once you experience them, it's like, why would I want to go back? You know, right? Like when you've rode in a Maybach, it's like, what do I want to be riding in a Toyota, like a '07 Toyota Corolla, when I can be in, like in a Maybach? And it's just like,
True.
saying that that's always what the expectation is, but it's just like when you elevate your expectations and your standards, like it's just like there's no need to revert back, and you don't need to think from that scarcity mindset of like, oh, like I like, nah, I'm gonna just like penny pinch and all that stuff. I get it, you know, like wealthy people be acting broke, but like they be spending money on what they want to spend money on, though.
Fact. Oh yeah, I agree. 100%. Sure.
And I think just to go back to that too is like what a lot of people kind of fail to realize is like just starting to see I think in abundance mindset you like start to see where the worth is in things that people wouldn't see, right? Like so like just to kind of go back to what you were saying, I went first class for my first time back from New York back to Phoenix, right? And it was just kind of dope because I was in New York and it was just like everybody was kind of doing more and you know what I'm saying and like focusing on level up and shit like that, right? So like um a lot of times when we cap ourselves, we act like we kind of put that ceiling on ourselves, and then we just act like I can't do this because of this, and then that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I think the abundance mindset starts to come in and be like, well, what can I do when I do that?
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So like, I heard this thing that said like, not only is well, not even heard it. I kind of just it was like a wake up call to be like, with first class, the cool thing about it is it's like it's comfortable, right? Like the experience is dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's food there, it's you board early, the ladies giving you drinks, and it's the hookup, right? But then you start thinking about like who else is in first class with you. The conversation is naturally different in a room where somebody's willing to pay a little bit extra for that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like what else are they? What else do they know? They know for sure something that I don't. You know what I mean? Natural. So then a casual conversation becomes something that like a different types of conversation. You know what I mean? So I think the abundance mindset is starting to see where the value is in places that you didn't used to see it in too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's kind of like, it's not just like I'm a cap, I can't afford it. It's like, well, first, how can I afford it?
Right.
And then second, what can I get out of that?
Right.
I think there's like it's just a mindset shift. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So I just
I
had to add that in
agree.
there for sure.
That's fact. And also, like if we can even like just remove it, external things, it's just like the believing yourself, right? Just like your self worth, right? Like self esteem. Because I feel like abundant minds is sometimes not always about tangible things. It's about how you feel about yourself, right? You see that a lot in relationship too. Sometimes people will like be in certain situation. They deep down know that they are not happy,
Mm-hmm.
but they are afraid to take that leap of faith because it could be so many factors. Maybe like starting over, like I don't know, whatever it is. But sometimes we believe that, man, this is it for us. This we reached the pinnacle mentally because it's like we never really want to like because we want to be comfortable in a sense, right? Because to remove yourself from a certain situation to create something new, it's uncomfortable, especially when you're used to something, a new pattern, ways of doing things. But sometimes we see people will stay in situations that are detrimental to them because they believe that they cannot do better than this. You see that with
Mm-hmm.
jobs so many times. Like people be at a job, you go to work, your boss is cussing you out. They'll tell you all kinds of things, but you are still going there every day and complaining every single day without trying something different. And that to me, that individual is living a scarcity mindset. Yeah, they might have all the external things, they might have money, right? If like the same thing, if you're an individual, you might be rich, but you were an abusive spouse, right? Who physically and verbally abuse you, but you're still in that relationship. To me, that's a scarcity mindset because you are in a
Sure.
situation that is not serving
Mm-hmm.
you, but you are afraid that you cannot attract something better. So
Yep.
you're still there, you stay in a situation for a long time. And sometimes it could be detrimental to you or detrimental to them. So for me, I think it's just not more. It's more than just like things that we're able to accomplish in our lives, about how we view the world, things
Yeah,
that we do, right? How we treat other people is way deeper than that to me.
yeah, agreed. I think going off of that, comfort is like we talked about this a little bit earlier. Comfort to me is where most dreams die. You know, just because what the future say, bitch, don't get too comfortable. Like at the end of the day, like the thing about it is when you're thinking from an abundant mindset, I don't think you can get too comfortable. Everybody wants to be comfortable, right? Like
Right,
naturally as human beings, we innately want to be, but there's a difference between being content and then like I think to the point of what we were talking earlier, contentment versus fulfillment. That like you have to find that balance. Like because you need to still aspire for more. Like you want to be happy with what you have. You want to be grateful for what you have, right? But you don't want to be too comfortable in the sense of like where you just like now get complacent,
right,
and you start to lose that abundant mindset starts to diminish, because I think as you're getting too comfortable, you're losing not necessarily your will, but like it just like it ends up like slipping away slowly but surely, like that hustler, that go-getter mentality of just like, oh no, I need to like stay on my shit, kind of thing. And like I said, at the end of the day, we naturally want to be comfortable, but there's that zone that you got to be in of like still staying hungry but not getting too comfortable, because at the end of the day, I still want to keep things flowing, right? Like when we talk about the flow of things, like you still want to be flowing. Like at the end of the day, like you might be flowing a little bit more at other times than others, but at the end of the day, you still want to be moving. Once you stop, like it's much easier to keep a moving object going than an immovable object, like
right,
a one that's like trying to get moving again is just extremely difficult. So that's why when you talk about comfortability and like living up to your potential and all that stuff, and um functioning from a abundant mindset, you always want to be in constant flow. And I'm not saying that it's going to be like you're going down like a grade 7 rap, like on the Grand Rapids, like
right,
like going like down this crazy ass river. But you might be on like you might be on a baby river, right? It might be the lazy river, right? You might be flowing like really like slowly, like down it. But at the end of the day, you're still
Moving,
moving though, like kind of
moving.
thing. Like
It's
you're
motion. You know what I'm saying?
you're still flowing, And so there's gonna be moments where you're going down like fucking the Grand Rapids, and moments where you're on the lazy river. But at the end of the day, you're always in constant motion, and I think you're staying away from that like zone of comfortability. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. Comfort is where dreams die. I genuinely believe it.
And I wanted to tap in here because this is a moment. You know what I'm saying? And just for everybody in here, we kind of had this conversation earlier, and me and Z, there's things that I believe that I agree with, and things that I kind of don't. So he said, so his point was that comfort is where dreams go to die, right? And my point was like it might be comfort also might be where dreams are born, though, right? Because sometimes when you're too far in survival mindset, like how can you even focus on any dream outside of just having your basic needs be met?
right,
You know what I mean? Like I think like a lot of like especially in America, we just naturally, a little more privileged in a lot of places, right? So we
right,
can have dreams, and we turn on the TV and we seen. I think my first inspiration to do music was seeing the Temptations movie when I was a kid. That's my favorite movie, still to this day, one of them, right?
right,
My first like dream of like doing music at all was watching that. What if I didn't have uh access to watch TV? What if I didn't have a crib? What if I didn't have food? What if I didn't have water? Like, so I honestly think the comfort is where the dream was like created. I had enough comfort where the dream was created, because if I was in too much of a survival mode, my only dream is like, and is like, yo, I need to eat. It's
right,
raining outside, bro. I can't, like, it's freezing out here, bro. I need to start a fire, bro.
right,
Like, I need something. I need something to be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree that like like dreams die in comfort,
right,
but they also are born in comfort too. It's probably
right.
both. Like
Right.
they died there, but they you know what I mean. So like the follow up. So the question to y'all is what are y'all what side are y'all on this? And then um the follow up question I have for y'all too is, do you think it's harder to go from survival to comfort or comfort to abundance?
Ooh. Let's focus on the first
Let's start
part, right?
right
So
there.
go
Let's
to
start there. Let's
the
start. Yeah,
first
let's.
part.
It's a
I would have
two-parter.
to,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's a two-part question. I mean, Z got a valid point too, right? Because a lot of dreams die, you know, when we're comfortable, right? I think whenever we're comfortable, we're complacent, we don't really put in our work to go to the next level, right? I think comfort to me is good, right? Abundance to me is great. You
Yeah,
know, comfort is like, you know, I'm
yeah.
okay,
I'm good.
things are stable, you know, I'm good. I don't need to really try hard. So, however, yeah, comfort can make you not really want to like go all in to reach that pinnacle. However, I do believe that, like what you said earlier, in order for you to like get something started, you need a little bit of comfort. Because at the end of the day, man, if you don't have those basic needs, they are not met, it's hard to have any motivation. And I noticed that when I went back to Africa in last year, and just talking to everyone around me, like I was, you know, in my mind, I have all these goals and things that I want to accomplish. However, people my age or even younger than me, their goals was nothing per se. Like they didn't really have goals. The goals were like to eat, place to
Yeah.
stay, right? So I believe that you need to have your basic needs met in order for you to like want to have goals and things that you want to accomplish. Because it's impossible if you're hungry, if you don't have a place to stay, if you're getting kicked out of your house to go to the studio and make music. Like, how are you gonna do that when you don't have microphones? Like, so you need a little bit of comfort
Mhm.
in order for you to like move to that next level, right? Because even like when it comes to like, I think for me, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think sometimes it's easier to have a job and pursue your entrepreneurship passion and dream. Because now, whatever, if you're smart, whatever money that you make from your job, you can use that time and resource and work on your business. You don't always have to quit your job and go cold turkey right away to pursue your entrepreneur dreams. You know, so I think that's kind of like the comfort there, right? Because it's easier for you to like think, okay, what can I do next month, right? But what if you're getting kicked out because you can't afford the rent?
Mhm.
How are you gonna come up with ideas to think? Because now you're gonna be in survival mode. You're gonna be thinking about paying our bills, right? So I think that's why I believe that you need comfort as the base, like the starting point, in order for you to like work and navigate to that next level.
I'm on the opposite end. I think more dreams die in comfort than more dreams are bred from comfort. Personally, I think if you're talking about comfort, I think way more dreams die in comfortability than the
I
ones born.
disagree. I
I really believe
disagree.
it. I genuinely believe it.
Disagree, bro.
Because
Right, but like, all right, go
and
ahead, V.
so that's where I'm gonna say that. Like I think more dreams die in comfort because if you think about it, right? Like from my perspective, right? Um, I think of like corporate America.
Right.
Like when I think of comfort, corporate America is one of the first things that come to mind, right? You know, like just pretty much like how the system is set up here in America, right? You know, you go to school, get a good education, you find a good job, settle down, have a family,
Mm,
you live a good life. That's to me, from my perspective in life, that's settling. You know, like you're just
right.
like that's comfort at the end of the day. Like I'm to your point, DG. Like I am good, right? You know, I'm not.
Right.
I'm like great, like you know, like but um, I I you could ask every single person in life if money wasn't a concern, right? Like if you didn't have to worry about like making ends meet, like if you had financial freedom, would you still be doing what you're doing? I guarantee you, like majority of people, like 90% plus, probably would not be doing what they're doing. You know, because at the end of the day, I think it's more so just out of comfort of just like knowing that like my bills are getting paid. I know that I'm like my check's gonna arrive every 2 weeks. You know, and that's where I think most dreams die. It's just like in that in that vicious cycle of comfort. Like it's just like what do I need to really like? Why do I really need to strive for more when I'm good?
Right.
I don't need to like be great, right? You know, I could just be good and just like live a great life, like or
Right.
what? And to me, that's just like I guess I just always push back on that. You know, like I've very much like I'm an Aries, so I'm just very much like a rebel and just
Right.
can't really just believe believe what people just tell me, right? You know, I got to like figure it out on my own. But
Right.
I honestly think that's just like where most dreams die, is just because like people just get comfortable and they don't really like necessarily need to strive for more.
Right.
Granted, I was point like it's that level of comfort that like, you know, like where, you know, you can find your dreams, right? You know,
Right.
your basic needs are being met, but it's like, why would I strive for more when I'm good here? Like,
Right.
especially when, like, the reason why I think more dreams die in comfortability is because of uncertainty and fear. You know, most people are cool with being comfortable because there's so much certainty there.
Right.
They think that, like, I know that I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks and this is going to last forever. You don't assume that I could be laid off or I could be fired or like anything. You're just like, it's automatic, right? Like
Right.
it's been rooted into our system, into our mental, that like this is going to happen for as long as I want it to, right? You know, so like, why would I leave this to go into something that is not 100% certain? You know, and that's
Right.
why more dreams die in comfort, because that's just where I think so many people get stuck and hung up. Like, and that's
Right.
just the majority of people in life, you know. But furthermore, the second part of that question, I think it's
Hold on one
hard.
second, Z. I just want to go to the comments real quick to Marcus said, I think comfort creates more fear. And Kilmatic said, I think dreams are boring comfort. They die when you're content with that comfort. Wow, that's bars. That's facts.
Mm.
And then Marcus said, I
Yeah,
love the life I
that's
live.
the best way I heard it
Yeah,
put for real.
yeah. I think dreams are boring comfort. They die when you're content with that comfort. Yeah, facts.
Yeah,
And Marcus said, I love the life I live. I think I should go start a business that no one had feared. And then Kilmatic said, I agree with Z. Kilmatic said, fear and security plays a part in chasing dreams too, I think.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, before we go to the next part, I think your point is valid, man. The Ramond is also is valid because at the end of the day, you need, right, comfort
yeah,
to pursue that dream,
yeah,
right? And then, like you said, Z, like sometimes when you get too comfortable and complacent and okay, you lack that passion to push yourself. So I think both statements can be
yeah.
true.
Bitch, don't get too. That's all I'm saying is, like,
Yeah, I like the way that shout out to Brandon too, man. He's
Yeah,
cool as hell, man.
so
But yeah, that was a bar for sure, man.
yeah,
Because I think what happens is because I still think, and the only reason I disagree with the that more die there
right,
because I feel like they born there. So
right.
I
It's
don't think
true.
like
It's
I think they're all born there, and then some die there, and then some, you
facts.
know. So
Right,
I don't think that's the reason I disagreed. Is like I don't
right,
think there could be more deaths than births. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Sure.
You feel me? So that's how I was looking at it. Um, but at that same time, I do agree that like it's the contentment with that with that
Comfort.
comfort because
Right,
right like if somebody was fighting to just get comfortable but
right,
then never stop fighting,
right,
you know what I mean? That's where you can kind of get towards abundance. It's like you start seeing different things and you're like, oh, I like this. I want, you know what I'm saying? I want to keep doing that, doing, you know, growing in this. I want to get to that next level. But a lot of people just don't. Like they're like,
right,
I'm cool enough now. I've done enough fighting, and that
right,
might be just how people want. Some people want to live. Like I'm good
right,
here. I like
right,
I can relax. Finally, I could breathe. I could,
right,
you know what I'm saying? My family's taken care of. That was my dream.
right,
You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? And now I'm here. You know what I mean? So that's, you know,
yeah.
for
right.
sure. In that contentment that they died though for sure.
Right. And now what, and Z, you can get to part two. What's part two of the question again? What's part
Yeah,
two?
so for part two of the question, I think it's honestly, I think it's harder to transition from uh, comfort to abundance, personally, than from survival to comfort. Because, you know, we talked about this, I think, a couple of ago. Bad to good is like, is less difficult than from good to great, to me personally. Like that separation between good and great is way larger than most people think. You know,
Right.
I think someone could go from being like scarce, like, to like literally nothing. Like, I think about people like, you know, I think about like people like Tyler Perry, right? You know, like Tyler Perry was home, like literally living out of his car, you know, before his plays, you know, his Medea play started to crack, you know, kind of thing. And he could have settled with just being good at like, just like, you know, if he had a couple like hit plays, he could have just settled at that, you know, like, and just been like, oh yeah, this is good. But he had a bigger vision and took it to what he is now. You know, he's one of the wealthiest actors that on the planet. He's a billionaire. kind of thing. But I think that's way more rare, like what he was able to accomplish, going from like literally nothing to like abundance.
Right.
I feel like that's just much more of a rare story than someone who went from like nothing to something. Going from nothing to something is good, right? Like I'm good, but like going from like nothing to like everything, like when you think about the abundant mindset, I just think that like transitioning from, like I said, that level of contentment, like going like killing that contentment and transitioning from that comfort to abundance, I think is way harder, like way harder, which is why I think just like when you think about people who have achieved immense greatness in life, I just think that percentage of people is so
Right.
small, because like
Right.
it's so much easier to get caught up in comfortability and contentment in that, than to go from having nothing to having something.
Right. I mean, I would say it's pretty easy, man, right? Because I think when it comes to abundant mindset, right, you don't need, like I said earlier, it's not all about the tangible things that you already accomplished, right? I don't know who said this. Was it Miami Ali? I knew I was great before I became great, right? It's like you
Yep.
have that belief within yourself, right? I don't think you need anything tangible right away to have that, right? I think it's just like this transition that happened mentally, and you start to like believe in yourself. You're like, I'm capable of doing these things. Like
Yep.
I believe I can do these things, right? And I think you can do that at any stage.
Hmm.
You can have that belief at any stage, and you can work on it at any stage. That's why I think it's easier, right? You just got to make that decision to just change your thought process, right? Because I heard a really great quote: "You control your thoughts, right? You control how you feeling. Oh, you control your thoughts, and your feelings comes from your thoughts, right? So you can pretty much change the way you feel by changing your thoughts. So I believe that we can cultivate and create that at any stage, man. Just changing how we think about ourselves, our overview of the world. I feel like you are able to create an abundant mindset no matter what stage you're in. I think it's easier.
So you think it's easier to go from comfort to abundance
I'll say so,
than from
right?
scarcity to comfort?
Correct. Because I think the way I look at it, I think it's just like, man, I think if we're measuring like tangible things, then it would be a little bit harder, right? If you're just content, right, to get to that next level, then it's a lot harder, right? But when I'm just thinking about just how you think, right? Because I believe you can have an abundant mindset without accomplishing anything right away. The
Hmm.
fact that you believe in yourself, the fact that you don't have that scarcity to go after things that you want, you're pursuing things, even though you might not have them right away, but you're actively putting yourself out there to accomplish or try to accomplish those things. That's why I think it's easier
Okay,
because you
well,
don't have to get it right
That's a
away.
good
let me ask you a question.
point.
Do you think there's more people with an abundant mindset than scarce mindset then?
Uh,
Since it's easy.
Because people don't think about, because it's easy in the sense that to make that transition, right? But the hard part is actually the thought, right? It's hard because like certain things are easier to do, right? Just like self-discipline, for example, we know if we do certain things every day, we're gonna see process. It's not that hard to wake up in the morning and do things every day. It's not that difficult, right? But because we don't do it, that's why it makes it a lot harder.
Hmm.
It's like to
It's
do
like
it is not hard.
it's the
Right.
discipline to it, which is the
Right.
hard part,
The
huh?
discipline
It's
is the
not
hard
hard to
part.
say like I know what I need to do,
Right.
but
It's
it's
not
hard.
that hard. Right. It's
Yeah.
hard to actually do the work, right? It's like I know if I wake up early in the morning, if I do these things, I'm gonna see better
Yeah.
results. But tomorrow morning, if I'm gonna wait, am I actually gonna wake up early and do those things? That's the hard part. It's like we know it, but the implementation of it, I would say so. That's the difficult part.
Because I personally think there's way more people who have a scarce mindset than an abundant mindset in life.
Yeah, I agree. I think just people like just not like I say, man. Just it's a thought process. Like our mind is like our biggest weapon, but at the same time, it's detrimental, right? Because at the end of the day, man, you can have people that who self sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
They know they are great, but their mind, on the other hand, trick them into not believing that they have whatever it takes, right?
Hmm.
Your mind can believe like sometimes like people who are suicidal sometimes,
Hmm.
right? They're hopeless, right? It's the mind. The mind is telling you there's no way out. But if you take a second and look at that individual life who's battling depression sometimes, there's always a way out, right? But our mind, on the other hand, is so good at tricking us into believing there's no other way. That in that, like you said, like the scarcity part, there's no way out. And we
Yeah.
start to like listen to that. So that's kind of like where I'm kind of like
And
going with
now
this.
another follow-up question then. So do you think so I know that you said you can attain an abundant mindset at any
I
stage,
agree.
which I do agree with.
Right.
Which I agree with. However, I think personally, in order to achieve an abundant mindset, you have to be a doer in order to have an abundant mindset.
Right.
Like, so I like if you could, because there's plenty of people who have great ideas but never act on them.
Right.
I don't think abundant mindset. I think a piece of having an abundant mindset is the act of doing things too, you know,
Right.
because to keep that constant flow of things, you have to be taking action,
Right.
you know. That's why I don't think that's why another reason why I think there's way more people with a scarce mindset than an abundant mindset, because a big piece of that abundant mindset is the capability and the capacity to do.
Right.
Uh,
Right. No, I agree. That's fact. But there's more people. I think I was just talking about it's
yeah,
easy to make that transition if you just actually think of it, right?
yeah,
However, there are more people with a scarcity mindset because, like you said earlier, they are not willing to do those things. It's not that hard to believe, to have that self confidence that your self esteem that I can do this
yeah,
thing. That if I work on, it's not that hard mentally to create
yeah.
that. But like I said, the discipline to do that is kind of
P,
hard.
Let me
what you
tap in
think?
here. Let me tap in here, man. So this hey y'all, it's a lot of I see both sides in this, right? In this specific point though, I'm going with Z on this one. And I
Right.
think it's harder to go from confident to abundance because even in what you're saying,
Right.
if there's not a lot of people with abundant mindsets, that means it is hard. So
Right.
we could say like it's easy to just like hit the switch and be like, all right, now I'm abundant.
Right.
but
Right.
but that's not the case. That's really not the case. It I feel like the mind is the hardest thing to
Right.
overcome.
Yeah,
Right.
And to get and this is why when I was listening, this is my point on it, right? To get to scarcity, to comfort, you don't have to overcome too much stuff in your mind. You
Right.
have to be like, I'm hungry, my family's hungry, I need to go out and kill something, and then we can eat
yeah,
tonight.
Right.
Physically, I can get out there and do that. You know what I'm saying? Without changing anything about my mind. I know everybody in here is hungry.
Right.
But comfort to abundance, I feel like that's when you have to get over your mindset.
mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
feel like that's harder to do than just
Right.
to be like, I need to eat. I'm gonna go kill something and
Right.
and 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 cook it up
Right.
Yeah,
because the family's hungry. The
Right.
agreed.
family's hungry. I know that
Yeah,
needs to happen.
yeah,
So I'm with Z on that side of like I think it's harder to hit that switch. I'm still like I feel like that's like a lifelong process.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the kind of piece that I wanted to bring into this, and we talked about it earlier too. The reason I think it's so hard is because so many people focus on problems
Right.
instead of focusing on solutions,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Like, and when you focus on problems, there is no solution. It's just like
Right.
this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, that's what's wrong, and then that comfort level, you sit in, like a lot of people just sit in it and they're like, all right, I'm chilling, but then this is the problem. I don't need to do anything because that's just the
Right.
problem.
mm-hmm.
I'm not focused on the solution. I'm just focused on the problem. I don't have to do when you point and say that's the problem,
Right.
and you're not focused on solution, then there's no action like Z was saying that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the problem. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Right.
focused on that. That's the problem. When
Yeah,
Right.
you focus on the solution, action does have to happen because then I have to do something.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's where I'm at with it.
yeah,
I have a quick follow up question then for you guys, right? Because
yeah.
the reason why. So, do you think it's easier to smoke or it's easier not to smoke?
Uh,
If you're comfortable in the smoking, I think it's harder to overcome it.
No, just
yeah.
just over like just smoking part. Just like is it easier, like for like someone to smoke or it's harder,
Is
right?
are
I don't know.
Because
I don't know. I
are
don't
we talking about
understand the question fully.
somebody who's like never smoked?
right, or someone who like never, or someone who never smoked, or someone who smoked before, right? Do you think it's easier, like the whole process of like smoking? Do you think it's easier to smoke or it's harder to smoke? Because the reason why I asked, like, go ahead, I would let you guys answer before I kind of like go ahead and answer that
I think
too.
it's harder for a smoker to quit smoking than for like uh, a non-smoker to start smoking.
Or okay, let's say a smoker, right, who currently smokes, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
think it's easier for them to smoke, right, today, or it's harder for them
Oh,
not
it's
not to smoke?
easier to smoke because at the end of the day, like it's their habit.
Right. What do you
Right.
think? What's your
The same. Like the same.
uh,
Like, and that
right? And then I agree, but however, I heard a speaker just talking about this, right, and it kind of like shifted my mindset a little bit. And he was like, if you look at it in reality, it's a lot harder not to smoke, right? Because I know the thing about it to smoke, right? That individual has to go. Let's say they don't have a cigarette, they have to actually drive to go to the store and purchase cigarette. They have to come home, grab a lighter, and it's a lot of process going into smoking, right?
Hmm.
For them not to smoke, they just have to decide, like I said, the decision not to
Hmm.
smoke. So that was like, so it got me like got me thinking a little bit. That's when when I say it's easier to switch that abundant
Yeah.
mindset, because if you look at it, right, it's kind of like philosophical in the sense that yes, to smoke you have to go through a lot of steps. You got to go
Hmm.
to the store. You got to have money. You got to do all these steps to make that to actually smoke. But
Hmm.
on the other hand, to not smoke is just
Yeah.
not smoke. You don't really have to
But
do a whole lot,
I think
I
So
don't,
Me
but
it's kind of
and
like
Z's about to say the same thing. I
right.
think. Go
So
ahead, Z. Go ahead,
so
Z.
so so it's kind of like shape my perspective on how things works, right? That's what I was thinking about. Like, yeah, it's harder for an
mhm.
individual, like like yeah, abundance mindset to like actually create tangible things. It's harder, right? That's why a lot of people are not doing it, right? There's the reason why I say it's easier to make that transition at any state, because at the end of the day, man, when it comes to your mind, you are in charge of making that decision. You can decide at any point to have that self belief. It's harder, right? It doesn't take any extra physical work to get there. Yet the mental work is the hard part, right?
Yeah.
That's why most people are not willing to do that. But if you're willing to do the mental work, it's a lot easier to get there mentally, because it's not nothing tangible or physical you have to do to get there.
Well,
That's the point.
I I egregiously disagree. My thing is the act of like smoking is
Right,
harder than not smoking.
right,
Yes, like the act of me going to the store, you know,
right,
finding $10 extra to purchase a like a pack of smokes to actually smoke and do all the like. Yes, the action of
right,
doing those things is harder. However, to P's point earlier, it's the mental. Like the reason why most people don't accomplish an abundant mindset is because people don't know how to get out of their own way. And in order
right,
to an abundant mindset and to achieve greatness, you have to get out of your own way.
right,
Like because we're all our own worst enemy. And the thing, like the smoking analogy, like at the end of the day, like yeah, like it's harder to take that action, but
right,
they built the
right,
doing that. And so overcoming that habit is the mental block. And most
right,
people can't get over that mental block. Like it's smoking is a different situation because I think that's a blend of mental and also like physical,
right,
because the sensation of smoking that like it's not just mental, it's like they feel like they need that like
right,
after a meal or sometimes after sex, like it's just like naturally like chemically my body is telling me I need to smoke a cigarette, kind of thing. So like it's more than just mental at that point, it's a
right,
habit. So like you're talking about overcoming a habit, and habits, once they're set in stone are much hard. It's much harder to overcome a bad habit than I think start a good habit.
right,
Personally,
right,
I really think, and I like that's where I fall on those things. It's
right,
just it's the act of getting out of your own way, and that mental and that mental piece.
right.
It
That's the
sounds
hard part. Right.
like
That's the hard
it
part.
sounds easy. Like the speaker, whoever you were talking
Right.
to, I'd love to have a conversation with them because I'm like, you make it sound like it's so easy, and I'm like, bro, like that mental, like just like we talked about it earlier, that mental switch is not easy. Like it's not, because you're also challenging the status quo.
Right.
You're challenging like and in order to achieve greatness and to enter into an abundant mindset, you're challenging everything that society is essentially telling you. You're challenging the system, and most people don't know how to be free thinkers and to function on their own and to like walk on their own 2 feet. And that's why I think it's so much more difficult in order to achieve that. P, what you think?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm on that side, bro. I just think the mental is the hardest thing to
Right.
overcome. I
No, I think
really
we're on the
think
same page.
when you
I
said
agree too. Right.
like when you want to feel something, it's easy to do something,
Right.
right? But it's not easy to over like you know if you see something like you see like something like fire, like a fire commercial for some food, right? Like, and it's unhealthy, but you see it and that shit is fire, right? Right? Like, and then your homie like brings it back, and you're like, oh, I just got this shit, from this new Taco Bell joint, and that was just looking fire, right? Like, it's hard maybe to pull out, you know, like to grab it and go over there and then eat it and shit like that. But the pull towards it is like I want that shit. I
Right.
want, you know, I have the feel I want that shit, right? The hard thing would be to overcome it and be like, nah, I mean, I know I don't need to be having that shit. I'm trying to
Right.
think better. I'm trying. So to get over your mindset, like to get over what your natural pull is, I just feel like it's harder,
Mhm.
bro. I
No,
feel like to get over what your
I
natural
agree.
pull is
Right.
harder, bro.
Right. I agree. I was just talking more about like it's easy, like in the sense that it's easy in the sense that I feel like getting there, you don't have to do anything physically. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because I do agree with that. Self-discipline is hard, you know. To do the work is actually hard, right? To create that discipline mentally to behave a certain way, it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would get there. My point is what I mean is not hard. It doesn't require any
Physically
like
easier.
physically easy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't require
Yeah.
that's the point I'm trying to make. Like mentally it's hard, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
require abundant mindset. You don't have to have things to have an abundant mindset. You don't have to accomplish all your goals to have an abundant mindset, right? You can still be in pursuit of those things that you want to pursue, but having that belief within yourself that you can do these things. You can create that. You don't need someone else validation to create that. That's kind of like the point I'm talking about. But yeah, in order for you to create that, it requires a lot of mental work.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, it's hard,
Yeah.
right? Because you have to like believe, self-believe. That's the point I was trying to make, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
But I do
that's the piece
agree.
I just wanted to take the conversation from there, like because we touched on it a little bit. Is like I like where that balance was, and like just talking about kind of like going back to like people focusing in on problems versus focusing
Yeah.
on solutions, right? Because
Exactly.
that like we said, like the solution kind of creates a call to action to do something.
Yeah.
What I just kind of wanted to ask, like, what's y'all take on like victim mentality? Like, what's y'all take on, you know what I mean? Like, where y'all at with that?
Man, I'm not one of those people that have pity parties, man. I think it's crazy, right? At the end of the day, everybody want to play a victim, right? Everybody want to play a victim. When things doesn't go well, we always want to like put the blame on something else. Oh, it's the government, it's, you know, politics, is that. Sometimes we don't want to look at the man or woman in the mirror, which is sometimes ourselves, right? And I feel like you can never get far in life when you have that victim mindset.
Yeah.
If you believe that you're a victim, like you said, mentally, you're gonna start acting like a
Mhm.
victim. You're gonna start acting like people hurt you, right? And then your energy gonna be different. Where you act, things you do are gonna be different. So I think like having a victim mindset or playing the victim is detrimental to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, the blame is always going to be on other people,
Mhm.
and you're not going to take accountability for things that maybe you contribute, right? You're always going to put the blame on other people, inflation, you know, the government, your mom, your dad, and you're never going to take responsibility to actually change your life or your situation.
Agreed. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that lack of accountability is such a common like just characteristic. I think for most people, accountability is hard, right? You know, like when we talk about like the mental piece of things, accountability, like when you talk about like greatness and an abundant mindset, in order to embrace an abundant mindset, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people to do in life is to hold themselves accountable and to like take action and make changes, right? You know, I've always said, like, if you want to see someone's true colors, hold them accountable. They'll show
Right.
you exactly who they are, you know, like in that moment. And so I think a lot of people just want to sit and point fingers at everyone else, you know, like and never want to point it at themselves and recognize like their faults and their flaws because we're all flawed, like all of us, like every single person that exists on this planet, you know. But it's hard to accept that sometimes and to look in the mirror and like because growth requires growth mindset and abundant mindset. It requires breaking yourself down and building yourself back up again. And it's a vicious cycle of breaking yourself down again and building yourself back up. Like, what are my flaws? I recognize my flaws. Okay, like, how do I correct these? Okay, cool. I'm working at correcting them. I'm working at correcting them. Damn, a new flaw comes around. Shit. Now I got to go back, break myself down again
Right.
just to build myself. So, yeah, I think a lot of people just function out of that victim mentality and just never want to take accountability because it's easier. Just at the end of the day, people want what's easy.
Right.
It's all about convenience. We talk about convenience in life. Just people want what is easy, and an abundant mindset is not easy. You know, just
Right.
like the physical part of things is the easy part. The mental is everything, and that's all the greatness and all the abundance and all that stuff. All the things that we want in life falls in the mental aspect of things, and that's just why most people fail, because they lack that mental fortitude. They lack that discipline. You know, they lack those things. You know, they lack
Right.
accountability. You know, and you know, just even furthermore, you know, people, what you were talking about, just like people focusing so much on the negative and whatnot. It's just like, I always say, like, do you want to be right or do you want to be better? Because
Right.
like most people just want to sit there and point fingers because they just want to be right, you know, like all the
Right.
time. Sometimes being right isn't conducive to being better. You know, like
Right.
I think about that sometimes in relationships too. Like I recognize that as one of my flaws. Like in my previous relationship is that, like, I would go out of my way to be right sometimes, even knowing that that would be detrimental to our relationship. And like
Right.
I recognized that I was like, I need to stop doing that shit, you know, like kind of thing. And but holding myself accountable, just knowing
Right.
what are you trying to achieve? Like at the end of the day, let's get to the solution, right? So do I want to be right or do I want to be better? You know, like,
Right.
and they, I think recently, in more recent years, I've started shifting my focus to wanting to be better. And sometimes that means, even when I know I'm right, I'm fixated on trying to be right.
Yeah.
You know, like at the end of the day, I just want to be better. You know,
Right.
like so fixated on trying to be right all the time. Like I get it. Like we all want to be right. We all want our point to
Right.
prove. You know, kind of. But yeah, like I mean, what do you want? What are you truly trying to achieve here? You know, like and most people are problem based as opposed to solution
Right.
based.
Bro, yeah,
Right.
I love that you hit that, bro. You said like, you know, like on the wanting to be right thing. Sometimes, sometimes even being right doesn't even equal anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you could be 100% right, and it don't mean
nah,
anything. It
Right.
just doesn't. It
Right.
just doesn't. Like, imagine just like turning up over somebody about which year the Broncos won the, you know what I mean, the Super Bowl or something, and then y'all in a heated argument, right? And then, okay, then it turns out you had the right year, he had the wrong one.
Right.
Now
cool.
what? Now y'all didn't flip tables and y'all didn't screamed and y'all didn't, you know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't got people leaving the house and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It didn't even equal
And
anything
it's
Right.
at all. You know
good
what I'm saying?
too.
You proved them wrong, and then now y'all both actually.
Right.
It's still
Enemy. Right.
you feel a little good in the moment that you was
I
right, but
got
the other
him.
person feels wrong because they was, you know what I mean? And it's still like tension between, because you know they found out they was wrong, and then they still, it's still, the tension is still there. They
Right.
like, so you know,
Yeah.
you can't fight though. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? you, you know what
All
I'm
right.
saying?
You can
Bet I
fight.
beat your ass. Though. I bet that. You know what I'm saying?
I bet you still ugly.
I
How about
bet
that?
that. You know what I'm saying? So
I bet
I
I
just
beat your ass.
I
Is funny.
think that being right thing, I think it doesn't even have nothing to do with anything. And I think
Right.
like you know, I heard Dame Dash actually say one of the dopest things ever. And we in a culture that everybody want to be bosses now, right?
Right.
But I heard him say that like all the boss really is a problem solver.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so many people want to be problem creators.
Right.
Yeah,
And you can be right that a problem exists, but if you're not focusing on the like on the solution, then what are we talking
yeah,
about?
Right.
What are we talking like? We can, because there's a problem everywhere you look. There's a problem in this country. This country did that. He did that to her. That's true. Those are true things. But if you're not even talking about a solution, what are you talking about? Like what
Right.
when you focus on the problem, it just takes the responsibility for you to do something out of it. Like
hmm,
Right.
yep.
that's the problem. That's right.
Hmm.
But what are you gonna do?
Right.
Nah, no, no. That's the problem. That's why I can't, and then I can't do it because of this, and then I can't. It's like, bro, but like, all right, that's cool. You can be right. Two things can be right at the same
Right.
time, right? You are
Right.
right. That is a problem,
Yeah,
right? But I know another thing that's true is like you yelling about the problem is not helping it. You
hmm,
know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, so let's make some changes, bro. So,
Right.
bro, I'm
No,
glad y'all brought that shit
no,
up.
that's a good point, Z. Like, instead of trying to be right, try to be better, right? And then it's kind of like got me thinking, right? Would you rather own a company, right, 100% of a company that net 350K, or own like 10% of a company that's worth a billion? And for me,
hmm,
being better is like me owning 10% of that company that worth about $1 billion than owning like 100% of a company that was net like 350K in revenue, right? That's kind of how I look at it, right? It's like I'm better in the sense that, yes, being better at the end of the day, like, are we gonna reach to an end goal? Are we gonna like solve this problem, right? Yeah. Why if being right costs you your marriage in the sense that it creates friction? Why being right cause tension between you and your brother, your manager, right? I think sometimes we have to evaluate, the decision things that we were doing sometimes because at the end of the day, it's like our ego, right? We always want to be right. We
Yep.
feel threatened when we're not right. So at the end of the day, we act a certain way. But I think that's a good way to look at things, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is this decision going to help us be
Yeah.
better? Right? Is it going to help us get to that goal? Because at the end of the day, if you're on this team, the goal is to win.
Exactly.
That's the goal is to win.
Yeah.
Companies like the
Yeah.
goal
I
is to
don't
win.
Yeah.
care if you pick this play, he picked that play. Did we score, bro?
Yeah.
Right,
Like
Yeah. Like
it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter how we got there. Like, and that's the thing about like, in order to, I think like embrace an abundant mindset and just greatness, just overall, to it requires teamwork
right,
because you can't do. And what's the saying? It takes a village. You can't do anything on your own. Like like just like when you think of like immense magnitude, right? Like when we're thinking about like the dreams and aspirations that we have, you can't do it by yourself. So like you have to learn to embrace that abundant mindset, and that abundant mindset means doing what's better, not just for yourself but for everyone else too, like better
right,
for the
Right.
better for all the people around you, like. And so that oftentimes is just like, what do you want to do? You want to be right or you want to be better? Like, let's be better, let's win together, like let's figure this out. And some people just aren't the best team players,
right,
like they perform well individually, but they don't know how to like perform well on a team, kind of thing. And so to your point, DG, it's just like, yeah, you might be able to achieve 350K on your own, and that's awesome. I'm not saying
right,
there's nothing not great about that, but it's just like, if you could embrace the ability to shift your mindset a little bit, embrace an abundant mindset, shift to embracing a team mindset, you could be a part of a team that now goes out and yields $10 billion a
right,
year, and you 5% of
right.
that. So like, um, yeah, like I think that's just a much harder thing to do, and that's why we're sitting here having this conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah, man, I think it's important, right? Because if you live in abundance, man, you just believe that there's more to life than what the situation is,
Hmm.
right? And the good thing is, I think what the reason why that's helpful, even though you might be going through hardship currently, physical hardship, but you just have that belief that, hey, man, this is not going to be the end. I believe that whatever situation is winter right now, there's going to be summer. That's abundance mindset right now, right?
Hmm.
Because that sometimes when you're going through winter could be physical winter, like mental winter. Sometimes we believe that we're not gonna see summer, bro. Like we just believe that this is it right here. We're just gonna like get snowstorm forever. But eventually, an abundance mindset, right? Is like looking at, hey, I'm going through a winter in my life right now. My relationship's rocky right now. My kids are sick. Things are falling apart right now. However, this winter is gonna be over. It's gonna be summer again. The sun is gonna shine. Those plants are gonna blossom, right? That's an abundant mindset, knowing that whatever your situation is transitory, it's not permanent, right? You're gonna like get through that. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna feel that pain. You're gonna feel that tension, but knowing that that tension is not permanent, it's
Yeah.
just transitory, and that's kind of like once you have that mindset, man, you're able to go through no matter what life throw at you because you believe that
Mhm.
whatever situation you're going through, you're gonna get over it, right? Like my knee, man. When I injured my knee at one point, yeah, I was seeing like I was in a little scarcity for a little bit, but I was like, man, whatever I'm going through right, whatever I'm going through right now, I'm gonna feel better. And fast forward, I'm not fully healed, right? But like 3 months past post surgery, I'm doing a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm slowly being able to do the things that I want to do again, right? I believe that I'm gonna get back to 100%. Like I know
Yeah.
that I'm gonna get back, right? It might not be this month or next month, but I believe if I do everything right, I'm gonna be able to reach to my full potential once again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
Yeah. In order to have an abundant mindset, you have to be a visionary. At the end of the day,
right,
like you have to know there's more than meets the eye, right? Like you have to believe, like we said earlier, like you have to have that
right,
faith, and just a lot of people will call it crazy and insane, because it's like it's not tangible. I can't see it. I can't touch it right now, like those kind of things. But that's what an abundant mindset consists of.
Right.
let's see. Yeah, I know we're getting closer to that time, that
Yeah.
7:30 mark.
I know, Pete, didn't you want to touch on upper limit problems?
Yeah, man. There's one thing I just wanted to touch on. I'm reading this book right now called The Big Leap, right? And it talks about um this thing called upper limit problems. And what it is like we all have like a level up to the point that we feel comfortable at, right? At the top, it's like the top of our limit where the top of the comfortability level, right? And for some reason, once we pass that, a lot of times we like self sabotage ourselves to come back to that level. You know what I mean? No matter what that is whether it's in love, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, relationships, whether it's in money. It's like, you know, if your upper limit level is 50,000 and you just can't figure out how I could get over it. And you know what I mean? It's like I get up to that, and then when I'm at 60, I'm blowing it out. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we self-sabotage ourselves, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, like every time I get to this level, I drink super hard and, you know, kind of put it back here. Every time I'm like on my, you know, my gym journey, and I'm like working out heavy, and then there's like a cap that we that we put on ourselves though. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it's called like an upper limit problem, man. And you know, it just talks about kind of taking that off of ourselves, because what we're talking about, this whole thing is like all that shit is
All
mental.
of it.
The whole
Right.
thing. You know what I'm saying? And it gets hard because you start thinking that the problem's always out there, but it's really, you know, as cliche as it sounds, it's in here. You know, that's where the
Right.
problem really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the solution starts there too, man. So yeah, just I just wanted to touch on that for a minute, on just like, you know, really just starting to take the caps off of ourselves,
Mhm.
man. Other people is gonna try to cap you. You know what I'm saying? They're
Regardless.
gonna try to tell you this is what you're worth. If you're working for this company, I'll pay you 50,000. I'll pay you 100. Like this is what I think you're worth. You ain't got to do that shit to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have to, and we do though. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I've done it before too. There was a time where I was just like, you know, I don't know why. I was like, when I was applying for jobs, I was really only applying for jobs in this range.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Let the ones up there tell me no. Like I, you know, I don't know why I was doing that. I just
Right.
this is some of the skills I know, you know. And then I remember talking to Diamond one time, and he was just like, I was applying to be an underwriter, and he's like, I ain't never been an underwriter. I just was like, shit, let me try that shit, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I was just like, that's dope, man. Or like telling ourselves what we can't do. I can't go to first class because I'm trying to
Right.
save for this. Well, man,
Mhm.
well, how can you figure out how to do it?
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and it's still the same thing as like focusing on the solution versus focusing on the problem. How can I
Yeah.
do it versus I can't do it? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Makes me think about, you know, we've been big into investing recently. It makes me think about stocks, right? Because uh, it's easier
Shout out
to come back to that
my boy David.
it's it's easier to come back to that resistance level than to go into uncharted areas, right? When you reach new highs, it's like, damn, I've never been here before, and
Right.
like you might look side by side, and no one you know may have never been here before. So it's like, bro, I don't even know how to like navigate this. So
Yeah,
naturally, I want to come back to what I know, and it's that resistance level. So like naturally, you're gonna resist that
right.
shit because it's just like, bro, I'm fuck that uncharted shit, that uncertainty. I'm coming back to what I know.
I
I'm
don't
coming
know
back
what
to
to do up here,
Right.
man. I ain't never had $1 million. I ain't never had 30 girls trying to get at me. I don't know what to do. I'm about to wild out. You know what I'm
you know.
saying? Like,
So it makes me think about like
art.
stocks. Like when you reach new highs, it's it can be overwhelming because you're reaching that like euphoria of, right, like shit, I like not just hit my goal, I surpassed that motherfucker now
Right.
on cloud nine. But it's like I'm scared because I'm like, I don't know how to like function or navigate in this space, you
Right.
know, either, you know. So it's funny, like as you were explaining that, that's literally, I was thinking about like a chart the entire time. I was just like, naturally just what's coming to my mind. It's just like, there's, you know, like they teach you in stocks, right? Like everything has to come, like what goes up must come down. Like and
Right.
that be the case, right? Like there's support and there's resistance levels.
Right.
And I think when you surpass those resistance levels, things always come back to them because that's what's known, you know. And
Right.
so
That's what you
being
say.
in a charted area is it can be scary. It can be overwhelming. But we need to stop capping ourselves and like just like capping like uncapped potential. We need to embrace that.
I
Right.
want to just real quick, because I just while you're on that exact point of how it's like stocks, bro. That's the perfect example. And to be honest, no matter what you do, you are gonna have those ups and downs. But the real goal, this is the goal of every stock, and it should be the goal of every person, is to have higher highs and higher
Our
lows.
lows.
So when you
Yep.
do come back down, you don't want to go down to the level you was before that.
Facts.
It's just
Right.
like I'm gonna take it. It's not gonna always be up here, but when I do come down, I have been building enough that I'm only coming down
Yeah.
here now. I
Yeah.
run up to a higher high and then a higher low too. So I really think that should be just the goal for real. Is like higher highs and higher
Yep.
lows. You feel me?
Yep.
That's what we got. That's abundance for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I agree. And all I want to say, like, I ain't got no cap. If it happens,
Y'all see me? I ain't got. We
Come on, man.
ain't no capping over here,
no
baby.
cap. No, no, it's true though. I think, man, whenever you put cap on yourself, you already like, so this is how much I'm worth, right? This is how much I can do. This is my full potential. Like, it's crazy nowadays, man. I just believe, for some reason, I just believe I can achieve anything. You know, like sometimes, like when I was applying for jobs, bro, I would apply for jobs. It was like 8 to 10 year experience. I'm like, phew, I believe that I'm qualified. I look at the, I'm gonna apply.
You ain't got no skills.
Bob.
You ain't
Yeah,
went to
You don't
the.
need
yeah.
I'm Bob,
I
bitch.
like,
I'm Bob.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like,
I know it's
you
not
know what I
bomber
mean?
than me.
I was like, the worst you're gonna do is see my resume, not accept me, not give me a call, you know. But the crazy thing is, bro, like, and just kind of like sometimes like trying, like I applied for one of this job. I don't know if I told you about this. The pay was like 190K of like 190K range, like 250 whatever, bro. And I went through 2 interviews, not having a lot of experience, and I'm like, oh shoot. The fact
Yeah.
that they picked my resume and I went through 2 interviews, that just shows me that I have what it takes if I really want to pursue it to do this.
Yeah.
You know, like you shouldn't like really like I'm not gonna apply to be a doctor. Obviously, I there are certain trainings and things that you need. But if any other job that comes to finance and stuff that you can learn and they can train you, like I was like, I'm gonna apply. I
Yeah,
Mhm.
believe that I can do this.
yeah,
I believe that I just got to get the right skill set and learn, and I'm able to do this, right? Because I just believe that I can learn anything I really put my mind to, right? And I think whenever we put ceilings on things, this is how far we can go. And that's kind of like the difference. I'm
yeah,
gonna pivot a little bit when it comes to like 9 to 5 entrepreneurship. 9 to 5, you're capped. If they're
Yep.
paying you
yeah,
150K a year, no matter how much work you put in, that's how much you're gonna make. It's capped, right? Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, is not capped.
Yep.
It's unlimited earnings. You can make however you want to make. That's the reason why Elon, Bill Gates, and them, all the richest people in the world, they never had 9 to 5 because they would
yeah.
have been capped. So
Facts.
that's like abundant is when you can just create whatever it is that you want to create without having cap. Because at the end of the day, you are in potential to earn or make how much money you want to make. If that's your goal.
Yep.
That's fire, bro. Yeah,
And
I honestly
that's
think
it.
I honestly think that's a great point right there, man. That's a great point to wrap, man. This was a fire episode. I felt good about it, man. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
was a little bit of on both sides too. We got to see, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yep.
know what I mean? A lot of times we all just on the same page, but I love
right,
when we have a difference in opinion because a difference in opinion like shows that we're being ourselves.
right.
Like, you know what I'm
I
saying? Like, we're not disagreeing
agree.
to the
Just
point to
agree.
agree. We're not disagreeing to the point to agree. Like, you know what I'm saying? It sounds good. It feels good. But,
right,
we get to kind of be ourselves with shit. So,
right.
for sure,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Shout out to David, Marco, Caston was in here. My man Brandon. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Definitely gonna come back to Washington Heights, man, for that tequila tasting, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, yeah, man. So it's a dope, episode though, for sure.
Shout out to you guys, man. We are here every weekend. I mean, every week, Monday, no matter what. That's the abundance, man. We just out there putting good things out. We're
Mm-hmm.
not capping ourselves, right? We
Yep.
believe that whatever we put out, man, it might be able to like inspire someone who are in the scarcity mindset to like make that switch, right? It's
Yep.
hard, right? But you can do that switch. You can make that switch to change, right?
Yeah.
It starts within. I think someone mentioned that in the comment. It
Yeah.
starts
Yeah,
within. You don't need
David,
anything
man.
else. You can
Yeah.
decide today. I heard this quote: "The best time to start is now."
Yeah.
Right? The best
Yeah.
is
Right.
now.
The
Just like
best
make
or the
that
best time was
yesterday.
yesterday. The second best
Yeah.
time is right now. You know what I'm saying? You
Hey,
feel me?
yesterday's gone, right? We don't have
You
yesterday
feel
no
me?
more. We got today. Now this is the best time to like start, man. So appreciate you guys
Yeah. Shout out
for sure.
to everybody tapped in, man. Yeah, we're here every Monday, man. Just dropping gems, man. This was a great
Yeah.
conversation. I'm really glad we had
Yeah.
this conversation, man. And just embracing that abundant mindset, I think is something that we challenge each other to do, challenge ourselves to do, and the people around us too, man. At the end of the day, like, why settle? Like, when we know that there's more out there in life, you know. And so
Right,
that's what I think. Like, the abundant mindset is just like not blocking your blessings too, like
right,
letting the shit flow to you in abundance, man.
right,
Like we said, that uncapped potential. And I see the potential in all of us, you know. So
right,
yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to just continuing to get it every day, man, and just tuning in every Monday, man. We'll be here talk
right. And
talk.
to add something real quick, right? You see they ain't dating a lot, right? Sometimes like you see guys chasing a girl, right? Over and over, pursuing her, texting her, she not responding. You are in scarcity mindset. Because abundance not gonna do that.
Abundance is not gonna do that,
Nah,
bro.
Abundance
She,
not doing
she
that.
don't,
Abundance like
she
we
don't
have
want you, bro.
options. She don't want
that's
She
it.
don't want
that.
she don't want you, and you just think that you don't
That's
got
it.
no other
No,
option, so you keep trying, bro. Get your
That's
scared.
ass out the
it, bro.
DMs, brother. Get your
The,
ass out the DMs, bro.
that, that's it. The abundant mindset is there's plenty of fish, right? There's plenty.
Come on,
There's
man.
more option out there. So that's just my takeaway. All right, fellas.
Stop fishing in the pond and go to the ocean.
Come on, man. All
All right, bro.
right,
Talk to
y'all.
y'all
Y'all be
later.
easy, man.
All right, peace.